All right. This is Algebra 1, Cycle 1, dealing with operations in real numbers and then multiplying and dividing real numbers. This should be a review, so I'm not going to spend too much time going through this, as you've probably seen it a dozen times before. So here, the only thing that we really need to pay attention to is things with negative signs. Remember that whenever you have two signs next to each other like that, if the signs are the same, you always add. And if the signs are different, then you're always going to subtract. So when we look at these signs, we notice that these signs right here are different. So therefore, we're just going to subtract them. So you have negative 6 minus 6. Okay, this is not negative 6 plus 6, which would equal 0. It's negative 6 minus 6. So if you can imagine a number line, okay, where the middle here is 0, if I go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I go to negative 6. Subtraction goes left. Addition goes right. So if I have negative 6 and then I'm subtracting 6, I'm getting more negative. So the answer should be negative 6 minus 6 should be negative 12, not 0. Okay, here again, two signs next to each other. Both signs are different, so it's going to be a minus sign. So it's negative 2 minus 8, which is negative 10. Okay, for C and D, you'll notice that the signs are the same. It doesn't matter if they're both negative or both positive, but if they're the same, you always add. Okay, so this is actually 3 plus 4, which is 7. Now this one gets a little complicated with your mixed numbers. I always like to change my numbers. I don't like mixed fractions. So I always change them to improper fractions. Now you can change any mixed fraction. These are mixed fractions. You can change any mixed fraction by simply multiplying the whole number here times the denominator, then adding it to the numerator. So 2 times 4 is 8. Then add 1, that's 9. So 2 1/4 is 9 over 4 now. Okay, minus negative, and I'm going to change this one to also an improper fraction. 1 times 4 is 4, and then add 3 is 7. So 7 over 4. Now it's much easier to work with. You have two negatives here that need to be changed to a positive. So now it's just adding, fractions. So you have 9/4 plus 7/4. Well, when we add fractions, we only add the numerators, not the denominators, only the numerators. So 9 plus 7 is 16, and then the denominator stays the same. And that could even be further reduced here. 16 divided by 4 is just 4. Okay. All right. And I let you guys try these. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you the answers. If you're doing this for the first time, if you were absent, just pause the video now, try them out, and then I'm going to go through and give the answers and you can check your work. So, okay, the answer to number 1 is going to be negative 10. The answer to number 2 is going to be 7. The answer to 3 is going to be 25. And the answer to number 4 is going to be 5/11. Okay. All right, now let's look at the bottom half here of this page, multiplying and dividing real numbers. So this works the same way as above. When you're multiplying and dividing, if the signs are the same, it will always be positive. And if the signs are different, it will always be negative. So as we look here, I have a negative 15 multiplied times a positive 2. Negative 15 times positive 2, they're different signs, so I know my answer is going to be negative. 15 times 2 is 30, so it's negative 30. Okay, negative 6.1 times negative 9. Now you're dealing with two that have the same sign. Therefore, it's going to be a positive. Okay, 9, 16, 18, 36. Yes, you have 54.9. Now, here, different signs, so I know it's going to be negative. If you want, just put the negative there. And then 8 times 6 is 48. Okay, going over here. Okay. Negative 36 divided by 4, different sign, so I know it's going to be negative, and it's negative 9. Here, both have the same signs, so I know it's going to be positive. When you do negative 3.2 divided by negative 0.8, you're going to get a positive 4. And then 25 divided by negative 5, different sign, so it's negative 5. Okay. Now the last ones on this front side here were word problems, and these are probably the most important type of problems, just because as when you take questions on the ECA, a lot of the questions are going to be reading and pulling things from word problems to do math, and so these are the type of problems you're going to see more often than not. But all I've done is just written out words, and I need you to change them into numbers and solve. So you have a football team. Okay, it says a football team has 5 plays, and here are the 5 plays. So you can see here they lost 3 yards, then they gained 15, then they gained 8, then they lost 9, and then they lost 4. So we need to change those into numbers. So lost, okay, lost is going to be minus 3. Gained is going to be positive 15. Gained 8. Lost 9. And lost 4. And just do the math. You can punch it in the calculator, or you can add them up on paper. But either way, negative 3 plus 15 is 12, plus 8 is 20, minus 9 is going to be 11, and then minus 4 is 7. So after all those plays, they only gained a net of 7 yards. Okay. This next question is can be tricky, because a lot of students will want to start reading and then just start writing down numbers, and they forget to read the entire question first. Always is a good advice, read the entire question first before you do anything, because here it says a volume of water in a tank during a 5-day period changed as follows: up 375, down 240, down 164, up 93, and down 157. It's important to note, though, as you read the problem, as it asks, what is the volume of the water in the tank after a 5-day period if the water started at 147? It's important to read it all the way through, because if you didn't read that last sentence and you just did the problem, you end up getting a negative number, which doesn't make any sense. How can a tank of water have negative water in it? Okay, so it doesn't make any sense. So you need to understand that it started with 147 here. So we put 147 first, then do all the numbers. So up 375, then down 240, down 164, up 93, and down 157. Okay, and now real quick, just gonna check using my calculator here just to make things more efficient here. 147 plus 375 minus 240 minus 164 plus 93 minus 157, and you will get, at the end of 5 days, you will get 54 liters. That's okay. Now let's flip it over to the back side. And this is just more review, again, doing the order of operations. So as we start here, you'll see we have PEMDAS. You guys are familiar with that. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we're going to fill it in here what each one stands for. P is going to stand for parentheses. E is going to stand for exponents. M and D stand for multiplication. Now, you'll see here that they're on the same line. If I can spell, here we go, multiplication and division. You'll see that they're on the same line. That actually means that you can do them in any order. You don't have to necessarily do, I must do multiplication first, then division. No, you can do division first ahead of multiplication if you want to. It just says that you can do them at the same time. And then A and S stand for addition and subtraction. Okay, and here we just did the order of operations, making sure here that you do not do 3 minus 12 first. You have to do 12, or negative 12 actually. This negative goes with the 12. Negative 12 divided by 3, or negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3, and then the other 3 that's here just comes down. And now you just have 3 minus 3, which is 0. Okay. I'll do B here, and then we'll do E. So B, again, exponents come first, not division. Don't do 6 divided by 4 or 4 times 3. Gotta do this exponent first. 6 squared is 6 times 6, which is 36. Now you can go in order here. So 36 divided by 4 is 9. Bring down the times 3. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay. And then finally, we're going to look at D. D we have to do, you'll see parentheses and then brackets. You always do the innermost part of the problem first, then work your way out. So here you have 3 squared minus 5. So 3 squared is 9. So I have 9 minus 5 in parentheses. Then the brackets. Then the 2 plus 4 squared times. So a lot of steps here. So we're still working within the parentheses here. I have 9 minus 5. Okay, that is 4. So I have 7 minus 4 in the brackets. And then the 4 squared times 2 plus on the outside. Now I'm going to move this up here just so I have a little bit of room. I'm going to still do what's in here. The brackets are the same as parentheses. So 7 minus 4 is 3. So now I have 4 squared times 2 plus 3. Now, once we have the parentheses gone, now we can go back to our order of operations and then continue with exponents. So exponents, 4 squared is 16. So 16 times 2 plus 3. Then I can do 16 times 2, which is 32, plus 3. 32 plus 3 is 35. Okay. All right, well, we finished off the lesson. We didn't get to problems 2 and problems 3, so we only did problem 1. But problem 1 has you go through, the problems look very, very similar. Okay? In fact, all the numbers are in the same order. 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, -7. They're all in the same order as this problem. The only difference you'll see is that this one over here has parentheses around the 5 and the 4, and this one does not. So what you were supposed to do is do this problem, and see, does it matter if there are parentheses in there? Okay, and the answer is yes, of course it does. Because over here, you're putting the parentheses around addition of 5 plus 4, which means that it can't do the division or multiplication over here first, like you can over here. In this problem, you would have to do the 6 times the 5 and then the 4 divided by 3, which is going to give you a completely different answer. And if you do it, you're going to get a completely different answer. That's all you're supposed to do with these problems. And that is it. This is Cycle 1, Algebra 1. And that is order of operations. And adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing real numbers. Thanks for listening.